Shock in Venice. Daniel Craig's blunt criticism of Cillian Murphy causes Hollywood to stir. The wind blew gently across the lamp-lit canals, and hundreds of camera lenses sparkled like stars in front of the Excelsior Hotel. Inside the opulent lobby, the press conference for the Iron Requiem had just begun, Daniel Craig's latest film since his departure from the James Bond franchise. Daniel walked in, wearing a perfect ash-grey suit, the same half-smile everyone had seen in Skyfall. But this time, his eyes didn't have the familiar sparkle. There was something a little tired, a little heavy, as if he was carrying something unsaid. At the back of the hall, a reporter from Cineworld magazine raised his hand. "Daniel, have you seen Cillian Murphy's Steve? It's been getting rave reviews at Cannes this year." Many have compared Murphy's transformation to the way he redefined Bond. What do you think? The air in the room suddenly became quiet. Daniel tilted his head back slightly, his blue eyes gleaming with something unreadable. He smiled slightly, a smile that made the room tense. "I saw it," he said, his voice calm. "To be honest, I found Cillian's performance in Steve to be stiff. Technical, but lifeless. Like he tried so hard to be the character that he forgot to live it." A quiet explosion. Keyboards clattered like rain. Reporters exchanged glances. Some held their breath, some smiled. Daniel sat upright, his hands clasped together on the table. "I have a lot of respect for Cillian," he added, "but I think he gets caught up in his own perfection sometimes. Sometimes art needs to get a little dirty." The comments spread like wildfire. Within hours, the headline, "Daniel Craig publicly disparages Cillian Murphy's performance," was all over the papers. Cillian Murphy. Silence in the storm. When the news reached Cillian, he was in Dublin, in his parents' old house, resting from the Steve promotion. He read the headline, looked at the picture of Daniel Craig on the screen, that cold smile, that look through the glass. He sighed, not out of anger, but out of a very human weariness. He had always respected Daniel, the man who had brought to Bond a depth and sadness that no one before had dared to touch. But those words still stung. Cillian poured himself a glass of whiskey, looked out the window. Rain fell on the city, the drops hitting the tin roof like distant keyboard tapping. A text message popped up on his phone. "Have you seen the news? Christopher Nolan." Cillian replied curtly, "Yes. It must have been a misunderstanding." But Nolan knew better than anyone. Daniel Craig's words were never accidental. Behind the scenes of Hollywood and the rift between two legends. 3 days later, Los Angeles. At a Vanity Fair panel discussion on artists and legacy, Cillian suddenly appeared. All eyes were on him. A man with slightly tousled hair, a clear gaze that seemed oblivious to the rumors swirling online. The host asked, "Cillian, there have been some comments from Daniel Craig recently about your performance in Steve. Is there anything you'd like to say in response?" Cillian smiled slightly. "I think Daniel is entitled to his own opinion. He's a great actor, and if someone finds my performance lifeless, maybe it's because the character of Steve is really lifeless." The room erupted in laughter. But behind the smile was a sharp composure. "I don't act to please anyone. I act to find out who I am, and sometimes that's not pleasant." Soon after the panel, social media exploded with the hashtags #TeamCillian and #CraigVsMurphy. Two names that were once colleagues, now became the focus of debate between fans. A fateful meeting in London. A month later, at the BAFTA Awards, Daniel and Cillian were both present, the Best Actor nominee, the Lifetime Achievement recipient. The event took place at the Royal Albert Hall. The lights were bright and the atmosphere was solemn. When Daniel stepped out of the backstage, He saw Cillian standing alone, holding a glass of champagne, looking up at the artificial stars on the ceiling. He walked back, silent for a few seconds before saying, "I shouldn't have said that, should I?" Cillian turned back, his eyes not angry, just a tired smile. "It's okay. I understand. We all have bad days." Daniel exhaled. "No. I actually think that part of yours makes me uneasy. It's surreal. It reminds me of myself when I was younger. I say that on stage, to avoid it." A long pause. Cillian looked at him, for the first time, seeing Daniel not as Bond, but as a man carrying his own past. "We're all afraid of the real thing," Cillian said, "but it's the only thing left when the lights go out." Daniel nodded. No one said anything more. The two stood side by side, looking at the auditorium below where applause was being given to everyone else. A photographer happened to capture the moment, two faces pensive, surrounded by soft golden light. The photo went viral with caption, "Not rivals. Just two men learning to forgive themselves."